Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Good morning, folks. Welcome along. Good to see you, one or two of you, up and at it already. Hopefully everything's coming along all right. I'm on the Wi-Fi this morning, so let me know if there's any problems. But Kevin's there already. Hey, morning, Kevin. Good to see you, mate. Great to have you on this morning. Well, while things are warming up, say the quick hellos as we do. Jason Witten's my name. Most of you know that, though. If you don't, well, now you do. And say a little hello in the chat. If you're new, that would be awesome to hear from you. Luke, good morning to you. Brad's there as well. Morning, Brad. Great to see you here this morning, folks. Thanks for joining. Hey, we might dive straight into it this morning because I've got to drop the young fella off to basketball camp this morning. Got a few other duties, but I thought before I do that, we might have a quick conversation, a quick touch base, a quick chat about what types of properties might be in demand into the future. Now, listen, there's plenty going on over the next 20 years, folks, and it's a pretty interesting thing that we're going to be part of, a once in a lifetime, once in a generation process. If you're there and you know what is happening, whack it in the chat for me. What's going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years in the Australian property market, in the Australian wealth system? There's a few interesting things going to occur and certainly have some influence over our property market. Morning, Margaret. Good morning, Andrew. How are you, brother? Hope you're well. Over the next 10 to 20 years, the greatest transfer of wealth we've ever seen. The intergenerational wealth transfer is underway, and that's the one, Brad. And the boomers, the ones that have got some money and real estate, are looking to, transition from active working into retirement, helping out their children, their kids, and, what's that going to do into the future? Now, right now in Australia, we've got some interesting forces happening for our property market. And, those are going to shape some things for all of us to really be aware of as we go into the future. So what type of property is in demand or going to be in demand into the future, and where are the big amounts of people? Well, you have a look at this. We had a guest speaker the other night, Simon Kushtamacher, from the Demographics Group, and he provided us with a few bits of data, which is really quite interesting when it comes to. I'll just turn off this. Some data which when it comes to the population, the age of the population, where are they going to be, and what percentage of those people are going to be in what age groups. And it's really telling when you have a look at the percentage of the population down here. The type of property that's actually going to be booming and most in demand is retirement living and aged care, as a percentage of age brackets and age and the population. So age brackets and population. If you have a look here, 87-year-olds, up here. What are they going to need? Aged care. Now, for you and me as property investors, are we going to, as individuals, invest in those types of properties? Probably not. They're probably a bit too complicated. There might be some exposure in, some what we would call the sort of the NDIS properties. Some people who've got a little bit more risk profile and risk understanding might be investing in those. It wouldn't be my encouragement for most of you. But, there's a couple of little opportunities here. So the downsizers, the first home buyers, and a student accommodation / renters. Now, there are some percentages or sizes of the population that we as investors might be able to take advantage of as we buy into the future. So let's do this. Let's do the conversation here. What type of student accommodation renters, what type of property, folks, would we be looking at in this student accommodation renter section? Put that in the chat for me. What type? And you can do the rest of it as well, like first home buyer and downsizers. And it's a really interesting thought process when it comes to the types of properties and where they might be. What type of property would a student, and what location, what sort of location in comparison to the CBD would that student / renter be, folks? Now, this is, this is a large portion, 20% or more of the population in that sort of section. Where would they be? What type of property would be in demand? What would boom? When it comes to those ones. First home buyers. Now, that's a really interesting first home buyers / first investors maybe, and downsizers. Now, why are we talking about owner occupiers this morning? Because, folks, for you and I, owner occupiers or potential emotional buyers drive property markets, right? Like you and I, as the investors, we might invest in a number of properties, but the overwhelming majority of properties are owned by owner occupiers. So Luke's right, near universities, near cities, near infrastructure, right? And overwhelmingly, that type of property, units and apartments, all right, for student accommodation and renters, close to the city, close to hospitals, close to universities, close to jobs. Now, there's a large number of students coming in and out of the country, new immigration and stuff like that. What about first home buyers, folks? What type of property is the first home buyer looking to purchase and own? Well, if they can, they'll buy a house. And if they can, it'll be a 4-bed house somewhere in the suburbs. But then, there's at the moment an alternative for the pricing, 4-bed house or a 3-bed townhouse, maybe a little bit closer to town, right? So these And now this is not universal. Obviously, first home buyers and owner occupiers might buy apartments near the city, near the train station, near the hospital and those sorts of things. But, when we're looking at this, what can we take from this information as investors and make some decisions for ourselves into the future? Downsizers, folks, what are they doing with the downsizers? A lot of the downsizers, or let's call them right sizers, right? Right sizers want some sort of luxury or convenience when it comes to their world. And at the moment, those 3 and 4 bed, luxury living apartments or really nice luxury living townhouses are really landing for the right sizes or the baby boomers. They're cashed up. They'll sell their large home for $2, $3, $4, $5 million. Maybe you go buy a nice apartment for 1.5 or 2 and still have some cash left over. And we're seeing that all over in our world. We've got our property management divisions in Brisbane and Melbourne, and we've got our residential sales team up in Brisbane, and we're seeing that when it comes to the world of property. What type of properties are set to boom? Interesting as a percentage of the population when we have a look at this sort of stuff, right? And retirement living, not a percentage as in a gross number, then it really gives us some understanding of the types of properties or the types of investing we might do in and around that market space, ladies and gents, that we might be able to, ride some of that wave of demand when it comes to the prices and demand as we go along, which is pretty interesting. We saw this the other night from Simon talking about, the sizes of our cities in Australia are pretty small in comparison to, let's say, many places on our doorstep. And, our population is certainly going to be driven by, our population growth is going to be driven by immigration. That might ebb and flow at the end of the day, but, there will be a policy of growing our population, because we don't want our population to age and not have taxpayers. At the end of the day, you need the taxpayers to run a country, folks. That is for sure. So that is going to continue to drive what we do as investors for sure, right? So how do we get involved in that? Yeah, you're dead right, Tim. Yep. Certainly location-driven lifestyle properties for downsizers and right sizes. Yeah, you're right. Ground floors, try not to have upstairs, downstairs. Shay and I, my wife, we were looking at some property designs the other day. We looking at a few houses that we might build, and there was some designs where the on the house design, the downsizer or right sizer, the master bedroom was on the master bedroom, the lounge, and the kitchen, all on the ground floor, and then the spare bedrooms were upstairs. If the kids came over or other people came to stay, they can go upstairs, right? So interesting. Think about those things as we go forward as property investors. And then, how the old fried egg concept, this was a pretty interesting conversation the other night from Simon, talking about, we used to all sort of travel into the city and go out to the suburbs to go home. And now a little bit of that is changing for us. 2 hours from the CBD is not the end of the world. Locations that might be in the suburbs are fine, especially when there's not as much driving involved now with work from home and other things like that. So how does that, drive our decisions as we go along? Because I can tell you right now, team, places in and around a couple of the cities that we really like, a couple of cities which is up in Brisbane and in Melbourne. Those two cities have some pretty interesting infrastructure, demographic, property pricing activities going on, right? You can still, within,
40 to 45 minutes of the city own a house under $1 million. Melbourne and Brisbane specifically, or Southeast Queensland, some of that land and build is very well priced. Brisbane is being pushed, once in a lifetime, combination of things: population growth, the Olympic Games, and intergenerational wealth transfer. That's going amazingly. So keep an eye on Brisbane as an absolute winner when you go along. Now, Melbourne's the dark horse. It's a fabulous city. Its political situation, there's a bunch of muppets there. Hopefully the Victorians will vote those idiots out and get some, a better of the worst bunch in. But it still has some awesome fundamentals when it comes to property investing, and it's the alternative market right now. You can buy well in Melbourne because the general population feels it's not as popular as places like Brisbane or Adelaide or Perth at the moment. The median house price, folks, in Perth and Adelaide and Brisbane is all higher than Melbourne. Yeah. Yeah, get the protesters out. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that those sorts of things, Alison, the social media world, helps exacerbate those challenges, doesn't it? But anyway, there you go, folks. That's it from me today. I'll try and finish on time. Got to go drop the kids, one of the kids anyway, off at basketball camp. Hopefully you're all awesome and well. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. And be good. Join us tomorrow for another one. The finance team. No, it won't be finance. It'll be Cass from Property Management. He'll be joining you tomorrow, talking about all things property management and what you got to understand about that. So until then, folks, be good. Stay out of trouble. Take care. Bye for now. See ya.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the Six Star team here at Positive